Hello. Welcome to what could be the first and only live stream. I don't even have a clue if you can hear me right now. I have never done this before, and about an hour ago I decided this would be a good idea. So, if somebody could just let me know, can you hear me? Hello in the chat, everybody. If you can hear me, that's a good start, and then we'll work on the music, and then we'll get into the roadmap roundup. You can hear me fine. Oh, that's good. Thank you guys for joining. If you come over from the Discord, thank you very much. That's very appreciated. As I said, this could be a complete car crash, but we're going to try and do something live. Good audio. Okay, good. Can you hear the music? Is the music too quiet? Too loud? Any preference on that? I'll wait. I don't think there's much of a delay, so hopefully the chat will get to it. And then we'll say, yeah, all good. Right, let's not mess about. We'll get into this. This, in theory, is the big roadmap roundup of the year. We're, in theory, about to have all our dreams either decimated or they're all going to be, we're going to just be in some sort of Star Citizen nirvana. Everything is going to be perfect. We're going to hear and see beautiful things. I've not had a look at this. We're going to look through. We should have the roadmap roundup, which is on screen now, and then we should also have hopefully some. Oh, that's not good news. Somebody's saying I just read this. I'm going to suggest that's not good news, but we'll come to that. But once we look at the roadmap roundup, hopefully then we'll be able to get into the actual roadmap and see. This channel, as you probably know if you're here, is all about the technical side of things. So I'm hoping that we'll be able to kind of find out what they're working on technical wise. Hopefully some stuff from the engine team, Gen 12 stuff, we'll see. But we'll see. We'll get into it. Let's read this and then we'll see. As I say, at any point, the whole thing could just fall to pieces. I might just turn something off. My live streaming experience so far has been about 5 attempts on Twitch, in which I think the maximum amount of people watching was maybe 2, and you can safely say that it's not my forte. And I think I decided a while back I'm much better at making videos than live streaming, but we'll have a go. Gen 12 or bust. I think that is right. Here we go. Let's move across. Hopefully you can still see this and I can read it. And I've just realised that I've just committed to reading this, and that's probably a bad idea because you can all read and I probably can't read that well, but we'll try. That's just a generic thing at the start. It says every 2 weeks they update it. Let's get into this. Notable changes for February 2nd, 2022. When we remade our public roadmap in 2020, our goal was to truly lift the veil on development and show the progress of our entire company, right down to all 50 plus development teams and each anonymised developer on each specific team, so that you could see what deliverable they were working on currently and planned for the next 3 quarters for a full 12-month view on development. Wow, that was a big sentence already. The progress tracker was the cornerstone of this initiative. With the introduction of this new view, we shared publicly a whopping 450 plus features across 52 teams. Today, we've decided to double down on that commitment. Well, that sounds good. I'll try and read what you're saying at the same time. There's a lot of reading. You're absolutely right, and that may have been my first error, or at least one of the errors. We'll keep going. Showing nearly everything wasn't our only major goal. Another big objective for us was to use the new public roadmap to better educate our community about how incredibly fluid game development truly is, and to help you understand the features and content shifting around both forwards and backwards is a natural state in software development. That kind of fluidity should not be seen as good or bad. It's simply how development works. Our shifting priorities, unforeseen blockers, unknown unknowns, unexpected technical hurdles, and normal R&D impacts timelines and development schedules. When these inevitable shifts happen in the past, we were frequently apprehensive about how the community might take yet another delay. As you should have been, yes. But when we unveiled the new public roadmap in December 2020, we decided we would no longer invest emotion and hesitation in our presentation of schedule changes, but rather move them dispassionately. I mean, this is impressive wording so far. I've got a lot to go. We'll see. And to assure the community that development didn't stop just because a feature got removed from a patch card, we pointed you all to a new progress tracker, so you could see that the devs were in fact still working on said feature, even if its expected delivery for a stated patch could no longer be committed to. This is why the progress tracker is meaningful. It doesn't focus on estimates, targets or desires, but instead shines a bright light on the actuality of what is. This is a very good piece of writing so far, and I'm struggling to read it, so there you go. I'm just going to see what you guys are saying. Gen 12 and 7 meshing aiming for the end of this year, but we'll see what I can do. Let's see. Let's get into that. Right, because our focus was very vocally shifting from delivery to progress, we also intentionally decided to minimise the importance of the release view. We no longer wanted you or our developers to focus so much on when a feature was coming out, but to instead focus on what we were working on in that moment and what we plan to tackle next. That was the flaw of the old public roadmap. I would agree with that. We only showed you what was coming, so we unintentionally told you that that's all that mattered. But with a total shift in the new public roadmap, it was time for us to focus on progress. That's why the progress tracker is the first thing you see when you go to the roadmap app on our site. We considered that our default public roadmap view. We considered removing the release view entirely when the new public roadmap debuted, but we felt the progress tracker did a much better job of showing what everyone was working on, and it was what we wanted everyone to now focus on instead of unintended promises. If you've been around a while, unintended promises, well, let's just say yes, unintended promises have been part of Star Citizen, but you know, there's always forgiveness. We can always forgive them and still believe. I still believe, just so you know. The progress tracker was meant to be what you spend your time really diving into. It is here that you can see where a feature leaves concepting and moves to integration, or when vehicle art is complete, and now VFX gets to dive in. The sequential changing of hands as content or features make their way through our development pipeline. However, at the same time, we felt that while focus should be on development progress, we also still saw value in showing players what features and content they could look forward to down the line, and when they could get their hands on them. This is a lot. This is a lot of explanation, which is making me slightly worried about what they're about to say. Thus, the release view remained. Instead of removing the release view, we opted to add a new functionality where the cards could be marked as tentatively planned or committed, and in trying to preserve the legacy and maintain the precedence of the old roadmap, we decided to still hold to a 4 quarters out release view. In hindsight, after living with this new public roadmap for the past 6 quarters, we've come to realise that this was a mistake. Okay, so let's just go back. Trying to hold 4 quarters out is a mistake. Is that what we're saying? I think that's what they're saying. It puts too much attention on features that had a high probability of shifting around. It has become abundantly clear to us that despite our best efforts to communicate the fluidity of development and how features marked as tentative should sincerely not be relied upon, the general focus of many of our most passionate players has continued to lead them to interpret anything on the release view as a promise. I mean, they're right about that, in that people have... They were quite clear in what they said, in that it isn't a promise, but people are still obviously getting upset. I think that's probably 50-50 blame to be given to people there. We want to acknowledge that not all of you saw it this way. Yeah, many took on our new focus and words to heart and understood exactly what we tried to convey. But there still remains a very large contingent of roadmap watchers who still see projections as promises. This is probably as direct as about criticising people as they've been, but I like it, it's good. And their continued noise every time we shift deliverables has become a distraction, both internally at CIG and within our community, as well as to prospective Star Citizen fans watching from the sidelines at our open development communications. That's quite direct. They they don't normally go at the backers. Maybe it's not as direct as it sounds, but they're basically saying this is your fault, not our fault, which it kind of is and kind of isn't. But anyway, we'll keep going. I mean, they've really put some effort into this wording, so I'm not surprised they delayed it last time. Anyway, rather than continuing to display release projections that carry a high percentage of chance of moving those multiple quarters out, we will no longer show any deliverables in the release view for any patches beyond the immediate one in the next quarter. Oh wow, so not even 2 quarters out, we're just seeing deliverables. I mean, yeah, okay, that can make some sort of sense. Yes, I am reading your stuff. I'll read this first and then we'll get to the comments, so feel free to keep chatting away. Wait. Even though we always added a caveat that a card could move, we feel now that it's better to just not put a deliverable on release view until we can truly commit to it. Which will make sense in that people won't get upset when things move around, but I guess it's then hard to know when anything is coming. I guess that's my immediate take on this, is that we're not going to know what's coming up in any sort of way. Is that right? We'll get to it. We're going to emphasise more strongly than ever that you should focus your attention on our progress tracker, which has been our continued goal. Going forward, starting at Alpha 3.18, we'll only add cards on release view 1 quarter out. So after 3.18, okay. Our process remains the same for updating a feature status. Cards on release view will be listed as tentative until they pass their final review, which is what they do now, in which they are marked as committed upon passing. This is no different to how things are handled today. With all that said, here are the updates for this week. So this isn't really this week. This is now. This is the year. We're looking at. Well, I suppose we're not now because they're not hiding it. Normally, at this point in the year, the January update is like a big thing where they just throw everything out there. But I guess based on what they're saying, there's not going to be any real big reveals on the release view, at least, but maybe on the progress tracker. Anyway, here comes the funny bit. Okay, I'll prepare myself. As mentioned in previous Roadmap Roundup, as well as on this episode of Star Citizen Live, the core gameplay pillar has moved to focus exclusively on Squadron 42. So this is the Richard Tyra stuff. Remember, I'm really focused on all the technical stuff. My knowledge of the rest of the game is there, but I think that's the Richard Tyra stuff. Basically, they're developing features for Squadron, and then they'll end up into the PU, which is, I think, probably what they're about to say. Features developed by this team will be integrated into Squadron 42 first, and then migrated over to the Persistent Universe. This has twofold benefit. Squadron 42 will benefit greatly from the additional resources and dedicated focus, and the Persistent Universe will see features come online in a more complete and polished state. As the process of migrating these features into the PU is finalised, we're temporarily removing the following cards whilst the PU implementation is evaluated. If this says salvage, I don't even know where to start. Right. The player interaction experience. Does anybody know what that means? Anybody? What's the player interaction experience? I don't exactly know what that means. FPS radar scanning. Okay, that makes sense. Yeah. Okay, so these are being temporarily removed. So basically, these have to get into Squadron 42 first, and then... Yeah, there was a new tooltips for players. Okay, yeah, that makes sense. They have to get all these have to go into Squadron 42 first, and then eventually, when they're actually finished as features, then they'll make their way over to the PU. So hacking, that's I guess EVA Tier 2 and 0G push pull, which I think they've been in development for ages. A few key deliverables on release view hold a dependency with the persistent streaming core technology. Okay. While great progress is being made on this tech, the required completion of it puts a few features at risk. Therefore, the following cards are being removed temporarily again. Which, when they say removed temporarily, that could mean for any sort of time. I think losing the radar does suck, actually. And they're not removing resources from the PU to focus on Squadron 42. They're shuffling around how they do it. So in the past, they've tried to just, here's a feature, they just whacked it into the PU, and then there was no real gameplay, or it was just unpolished. So I think the trolleys are the best example. They just shoved it into the PU and said good luck, and there wasn't really any use for it. Whereas now what they're saying is they're going to actually develop the things they need for Squadron as a focus, and then when they're in a good state and good enough to be in a single-player release game, then they'll make their way into the PU. Whether that actually works in reality, I don't know, but that's their plan. Anyway, so persistent hangers, that's a blow. That would have been nice. And the hanger manager, I suppose they go together, yeah. The following features have been identified to need additional polish before they're released into the persistent universe. Therefore, we are removing these cards temporarily until the projections for their respective release timings have been confirmed, which I guess means they're not coming anytime soon. Try to keep reading. Okay, so then we've lost the whole C, which does that doesn't mean no. The A and is it the A that's in development? Oh well, thank you very much for the $4.99. That is the first piece of money I've ever received for doing this, other than ads on just YouTube. So thank you very much, and thank you, Elevens, which I guess is how I should say your name. Also, you should check out Eleven's Hangers stream or YouTube channel. Some very, very good videos as well, so check him out. Thank you. That's very kind. And so here we go. Let's keep going. The following card has been added to the 317 column: coffee shop vendor, which I bet you is what you have all been waiting for. The coffee shop vendor. Oh, that's amazing. Just basically, I love this game, and I think this game has the potential to be the best thing in the world. But sometimes you just get the things like this where you just have to laugh. The first thing to keep us, we've lost all these things, but yet what we're getting is a coffee shop vendor, which is basically a bartender that sells coffee, I guess. But there you go. Thank you very much, Scott. That's very kind of you. I'm sorry that I'm missing all the messages. Again, I've never done this before. I will try and make this worth your while. If you stick around, let's have a look. What's in my room? I'll tell you what I'm working on, and also, bizarrely, my wife's wedding veil from our wedding is in this room. So I guess if this stream goes on, if you stick around for a bit, I will put it on as a reward because I've got nothing else. Basically, I'm trying my best. I actually have no idea what I'm doing. So anyway, we'll keep going, and at some point we'll put that on. It's fine, don't worry. Right, so we're getting a coffee shop vendor. Area 18 is getting a new interactable coffee shop. The AI will interact with 3 new usables: hot drink dispenser, wow, soft drink dispenser, and a drinks fridge to serve the player with a variety of new drinks. All very nice, but that is the bartender basically again, isn't it? So that's not even coming in. That's coming in 317. Okay. Progress tracker. With this week's update, we are updating the majority of the downstream schedule through Q1 2021. Okay, this is probably the stuff that we're interested in. And yeah, Spectrum. I bet Spectrum is on fire. Oh dear. So the following deliverables are being added to the progress tracker. We've got the Argo SRV, building, implementing, and balancing Argo's tugboat, the SRV, as a game-ready vehicle. This deliverable is being added to the EU vehicle content team schedule. Right, we'll keep an eye on these, and then we'll try and find them where they are. I mean, that's relatively interesting, but I mean, I don't know what gameplay is coming with tugboats, but we'll see. The Greycat Industrial Sidnus Mining Droid. Wow. I thought we weren't doing droids. Well, I suppose... No, we have done droids. Anyway, building, implementing, and balancing Greycat's mining platform, the Sidnus, as a game-ready vehicle. This deliverable is being added to the Squadron 42 art team schedule. So, I guess, okay, so it's something to do with Squadron 42's story. Hospital surgeon, concepting. Okay, so we're still quite early on. Thank you very much for all of your... Well, that's very kind, all of you. Thank you, fake news. I bet Spectrum is hilarious. Thank you for all the kind messages, and we'll keep going. The concepting, creating, and implementing the outfits worn by surgeons, beginning with the ones working in the Horizon General Hospital location. This deliverable is being added to the Star Citizen character art and tech art team schedules. Okay, that's fine. Military multi-tool, which makes sense. Designing and building a multi-tool variant used by the military. Okay, that's the weapon content people. AI, arcade machine. AI behavior, where the AI will play multiple rounds on an arcade machine with varied emotional results depending on whether they win or lose. I think this right here, this is why some people get cross with this game, because that seems like something that nobody asked for and nobody cared. But I know it will increase the immersion, that the AI will react how well they're playing their games. But yeah, that's just funny. I mean, again, I think I want all this stuff eventually, but that seems like something that nobody really wants right now. But anyway, this is probably a bit better. Improving the implementation of the existing usable system to optimize the memory usage, that's what we want to hear, and improve the performance when querying usable data at runtime. So this is being added to the AI tech and feature teams schedule. Oh no. I told you there was going to be a disaster. And the disaster has been that my light that I threw up fell off and pulled the HDMI cable out of my camera. And now if I plug it back in, we'll have to see whether it will reappear. Otherwise, the stream has just got a lot more boring. Let's see. Hang on, let's see if I can fix this. Is it back? Is my face back for you? Apologies for that small hiccup. but I did promise you, if you were here at the start, that I don't know what I'm doing, and that was likely to happen. So we'll keep going. Where were we? So performance improvements with the AI usable system. Fine. Modular shaders, updating the existing shader, updating the existing shader system and workflows to allow for implementation of support of basic modularity. Server streaming changes. Oh, hang on. Here we go. I should pay attention here. Changes the implementation of server object container streaming (SOCs), our favourite, to be driven from the network's code replication layer. So the replication layer, from what I can remember from all of the server meshing stuff, is key basically to what they're doing. So it's going to be driven by the replication layer, backed by entity graph for persistent storage. Right. If I forget to look at that one, that's probably one to look at. Yeah, don't break the microphone. If we can do this without a camera but not a microphone, we should definitely look at that one, because that looks interesting to see when that will be and whether that's looking like it's going to be any time soon, because obviously that looks like something they have to get in early for server meshing, but that's it goes. When a dedicated game server crashes, this system will spin up as a replacement DGS and restore its state from the replication layer. That's pretty big. So that basically, that's really big. That, yeah, again, network team, we'll look at that. Long-term persistence. Changes to long-term persistence that support the new inventory and shard database. Long-term persistence functionality will stay the same, but the system will rewrite the data from new entity graph database. So their databases will be better, hopefully, and that's the persistent text team. Wheeled vehicle physics improvements, fine, whatever. Reputation v2, that's quite interesting. And an update to the reputation system that allows reputation to drive AI hostility. That's good. Okay, yeah. So rather than just being, I guess what they've kind of touched on this before. They, at the moment, I think AI in the PU basically will attack you based on your crime stat, whereas what this seems to suggest is that they're going to be able to do it with just reputation rather than crime stat, whether you're good or bad. So that's good. Look, IK. I don't know what IK stands for. Anyway, update to the existing Look IK system to remap I trajectory to use I expressions that are defined in rig logic. Something to do with animation. Okay, fine. The following deliverables previously removed are now returning to the progress tracker. Enabling players to track criminals via Mobiglass security app linked to distress beacons, comm arrays, air traffic control systems, cameras, and NPC informants. I've realised I've not been listening to that. I've just been reading it. Let me read it again. Bounty Hunters V2, enabling players to track criminals via a Mobiglass security app, so different app, okay, linked to distress beacons, comm arrays, air traffic control systems, cameras, and NPC informants. That's cool. This will rely on various new back-end tech, and including virtual AI, NPC. Jim, absolutely not needed. That's very kind though. Thank you very much. And that's just a very kind thing to do. You don't need to do any more support. Thank you very much. That Bounty Hunter stuff sounds good. That's I guess when it comes though. Persistent HABs. Due to aforementioned dependency on persistent streaming, and in order to give additional priority to persistent hangers, this yeah, we've had this. So that's gone basically. Right. Let's now get to the fun part of this, where we'll scan through the progress tracker, which has been updated, and we'll see. And as much as I've just been reading through that, and now I probably need a break, I'd love to hear what you want to hear, and we'll go and try and find it. I guess we can search. What happens if we just search for, I don't know. Nope, bounty does not work. Maybe that's inted. Anyway, call out what you want to see. I will do this because I said I would, and that was probably an error. But hang on 1 second. There we go. You can't even see that. Fine. I have a wedding veil on. I promised I would, and I don't know why I did that, but I thought I'd try and make this a bit more fun. Anyway, let's go. Who wants to see what? Pretty happy with the release. yeah, shall we just quickly look at the release view just to see what is coming up? So in theory, they've not moved. Yeah, they've just not gone past 318. So this basically should be pretty solid for 317. Okay, DNA, fine. Locations. So the Lawville Hospital, that's good. The coffee shop vendor, that's amazing. Mining gadgets are coming, yeah. Ship-to-ship refueling, so if that does come, that's good. And then selling items to shops, which is quite big. Yeah, I think you're right. It's not dreadful. It's no worse than some of the other roadmap roundups that we've had, and the changes they've done. And then we've got the Scorpius and the Hull. So the AE is still coming. Okay, fine. And then this really is a guess. But let's get into this. Let's have a quick look, and we'll get to current quarter. So basically Q1. Let's just whip through some of these and see what interesting things we can find. So this is gone. We think this has been removed. FPS radar and scanning. So that, I guess, means they don't think it's coming anytime soon at all. So there we go. Mining gadgets we know is basically here. So if we go back, oh well, that in theory is finished in November, but that should be coming in the next update. What else is here? So this got a bit of a change. That's not coming for ages by those things, but this isn't the stuff we're really interested in. Let's find the stuff that we're interested in, which is the engine team, and let's see some of these things. Here we go. Here is what we're all about. The Gen 12 renderer, tier 1. And if you thought I was going to get through a video or a stream without saying Gen 12 renderer, you were wrong. I was obviously going to say it at some point, if I haven't already said it. So they think, they're still projecting that the work is going to finish. Can you believe though, they've got 2 people and they're part-time on this? It seems like, I mean, maybe my understanding of how we make games is just completely wrong, but I assume you'd have like a lot more people than 2, especially on that. Anyway, and actually it might be in the graphics team as well as the engine team, so actually maybe that we'll find out in a minute. That in theory work is finishing at the end of February. So in theory, we're making some progress there. Here we go. Persistent streaming and server meshing, which is where? Where is it? Where is it? There's nothing. There's nothing on there for some reason. Oh well. Let's see. 2 people or 2 teams? Good question. Is that 2 people? I think that's 2 people. I could be wrong. Let me know if you think it is. Thank you very much for your encouragement, all the very kind people. Okay, we've got, so basically there's nothing for persistent streaming and server meshing showing at all. There's no, which maybe it means they're finished. It means even though you didn't know, server meshing is done. It's in game. You didn't know that, but if you log on right now, it's in the. It clearly is not, but yeah. Is it way back here? Okay, so it was here, but well, we know it's not finished. So unless they've scheduled some more for the rest of the year, no, they've basically stopped. There's not many that have been pushed really far out on this. Anyway, let's keep going. Okay, what else will be interesting for this channel? The graphics team. Here we go. So again, okay, here we go. So I was wrong. They've got many more people in the graphics team themselves working on this, and again, it looks. I mean, they think it's going to be done pretty soon. Remember, this is only tier 1, which I can't exactly remember what the different tiers mean off the top of my head. I think this was just basically porting everything across to the Gen 12 renderer. Then the next steps are getting it across to Vulkan, basically, which will probably take a while. It doesn't seem like it's on here at all. So here we go. Salvage is still going, not far off. So maybe we will get salvage this year. You never know. And we've got. That's not. So far, basically, all we can say is it looks as though the Gen 12 renderer is on track for the first tier of it to be done soon. Maybe even for the next patch. We'll have to see. That's basically what we've got. So far in the testing I've done, if you're just here and you've got no idea what's going on, I normally make videos about the technical side of Star Citizen, and try and test as much as I can. So far, I can't really find any benefit in performance from the Gen 12 stuff that they've already put in the game, but they're kind of porting it off piece by piece, porting it across from their old renderer to their new one. So it's taking time, but so far there's no real performance improvement between the patches over the last few patches at least. So we'll see if when they actually get the full tier 1 version of that in, whether that makes a difference, but we'll have to see. Let's see, is there anything else? The network team, they might have some more interesting things. And what are you guys wanting? I'm very much appreciating your kindness. You need to click on deliverables view so you can see the progress on that from all teams. I like this. Oh, I see. So, oh, okay, this is the individuals. Why have I only got A? What am I missing there? I can go down to A. That's all I've got. Well, we'll see. I didn't plan to do this stream. I planned to go to bed, but then I thought, well, I woke up at 5:30 in the morning and I thought maybe I've just lost my mind, so I just thought I'd give it a go. I don't know what I'm trying to find here by clicking on deliverables. I've only got the A's and the 2Ds, so I'm not sure what's going on there. Let's keep going and try and find some more interesting. We'll get to the engine team in a second. We did the engine team, didn't we? What were we supposed to be on? Network team. Here we go. So so this is the dedicated crash recovery stuff. That's working on in May, so that's pretty good. And then we've got persistent streaming and server. And here we go. Woo, look at this one. So, okay, so the other one, the engine team's version of this, didn't have anything worked on. These guys are working on this at least until Q3, which is kind of what a lot of people have predicted, that server meshing wasn't going to come at any time. My prediction is it probably won't come this year, but if we're very lucky, it'll be right at the end of the year. I'll check in the filters in a minute. Hang on. We'll keep going with this. What else have we got here? Server streaming. That sounds interesting. Yeah. Okay, so this is what they mentioned in the roadmap update. Let's find where that work is. So that's happening right now. So that's moving across to the replication layer. So yeah, okay. So far, from the technical side of things, it's all kind of what we expected. So we look at the physics team. Seems quite bare, this roadmap, a lot of this stuff. Yeah, I don't know. I think that is from the stuff that I'm interested in, from the technical side of things, we've not got a lot of interesting things. Basically, everybody's interested in this one, server streaming, persistent streaming and server meshing, and that is basically a whole year thing. It looks like the first little bit of the Gen 12 render is coming pretty soon, which is good. But obviously, if you haven't seen that, there is going to be a big old talk with Ali Brown on Friday. What day is today? Today is Wednesday. Friday. So Ali Brown, the graphics engineer lead guy, he's doing what are they called? Inside Star Citizen. The ones they do on Fridays, where they talk live with him. So I would suggest that will be a really interesting one, and I'll probably make a video about that for next week at some point. But I think we'll hear a lot more detail, because I don't know about this. This is useful if you really want to get into it, but the amount of information you can get from each thing is just so limited. You're seeing a rough estimate of when they finish some work, but there rarely are the actual things that doesn't show the Gen 12 render when it's going to be finished. It shows when some part of it's going to be finished, and it doesn't show when we're going to get it. So I don't know. Jump points would be interesting, because they have to get that in before Pyro. Call out some things if you want me to look up something. And what was this thing about the filters? Oh, here we go. So it's filtered by alphabetical. Is it because I was zoomed in? So if we go to deliverables, and if we filter it by, let's go core tech, apply changes. No results. I think something either isn't working with it, or is, yeah, maybe that doesn't seem to be working, unless I'm doing something wrong. The Corsair, we can look for the Corsair. We could look for that. Let's look. Take that off. No, I don't know. I spelled it wrong. Right, Drake Corsair. Okay. You know more about this than me. My knowledge of ships is very limited, but here we go. The Drake Corsair is looking on, what's this? The vehicle content team, the vehicle experience team will be finishing off in August, and the vehicle concept art team are still going to there. So the earliest you're going to get this is the end of the year, and probably not, I would have thought. Can search in deliverables and find anything. Okay, call some things out. Work only on Teams filter, always not on deliverables. And now you're all saying different things now. I think we've seen the majority of interesting things there from my point of view, and I think basically the gist of this was basically like any other roadmap update. Some things got lost, some things, well, I don't know what came that was interesting. The coffee vendor was the most interesting thing that CIG wanted to tell us about first. So the coffee vendor, I hope you're all excited about that. But basically, I don't think we know anything more than we did earlier today. I think basically all these core tech things, all the server message things, they don't really give us any information. So yeah, I think I'll probably call it there, because I think as much as there's just nothing else to find. Like what I recommend is definitely watch the Ali Brown thing on Friday, but I think for now this would probably be it. So thank you very much for joining the first and maybe only, you could be privileged 40 people. This could be the only stream I ever do. I don't know. I'll have to have a good reason to do one, because this isn't the normal sort of thing I do. But thank you very much for joining, and have a lovely time in your life. That's all I can say. What do I normally say on the videos? This is so weird doing, I mean, thank you very much for being here. It's so weird doing this live, because normally I can just have a video and I can do multiple takes, and you wouldn't ever know. You'd never know. You were here. You were all here. Thank you very much. Thank you for your support. Thank you for the money. Some people sent money. How crazy thing is that? But anyway, if you're not subscribed, I guess you must all be subscribed, otherwise you wouldn't be here. If you're not subscribed, you should subscribe. You should like the video. That's what I say. You can, what else do I say? The Discord. If you've not come from the Discord, go over to the Discord. We're just getting started. Again, light streaming. I don't know what I'm doing with Discord, but it's fun and I'm learning. But I can't work out where to get everything going. So when people join the server, there's just all these messages saying hello. I don't know what to do with that. But anyway, somebody can tell me how to do that. And what's the last thing? Yes, we now have YouTube membership, which I don't think anybody has ever heard of YouTube membership before. I basically thought I can't really be bothered to do a Patreon. We'll do it on YouTube. But there we go. Anyway, thank you very much for being here for this one and only stream. I have a veil on, so I don't know if that makes you happy, but there we go. But I will see you another time. And now I have to work out how to turn this off. Hang on. You're still there, but I don't know how. Where do I turn it off? If I stop streaming, I'm going to hit stop streaming. Thank you very much. See you soon. Bye.